So this lecture is going to focus on how the respiratory and circulatory systems work together to keep our body maintaining homeostasis, which basically means like equilibrium. Everything is working as it should. There are no problems. If there are, we handle it to kind of keep us on that even keel. Now we know the circulatory system transports blood, other materials, right? Brings supplies to the cells, carries away wastes. One of those wastes is carbon dioxide, right? Our bodies use oxygen and they release carbon dioxide, so the blood's job is to kind of clean up the carbon dioxide in our bodies from just our bodies doing what our bodies do. It also separates oxygen poor and oxygen-rich blood. We saw that in the heart. And it also, there's one thing that we really haven't focused on is the distribution of heat. Our circulatory system also helps us to regulate our body temperatures. It helps to keep us warm, helps us cool down, and things like that. So again, moves through the bodies. A couple things I just want to review is that you got your heart, arteries, veins, capillaries. Heart pumps the blood, arteries move away, veins move the blood back to the heart, and the capillaries are where that exchange happens, where it's almost like they pass off. The arteries and the veins connect, and they pass off the blood to one another. Capillaries are the smallest, but they're also the most numerous blood vessel, just so we know. And those are the things that you cut when you cut like a paper cut or you cut your finger. Okay, let's talk about the respiratory system. So this is where we get the oxygen. So we know the path of the oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood, but this is where the blood is infused with the oxygen. And you can see my man up there on the right just having a breath, just doing some pranayama, some yogic breathing, for those of you that take yoga. So that's where the gas exchange occurs. So it happens, so we breathe in air from the atmosphere. Okay, the air we breathe in is not pure oxygen. There's nitrogen in there, there's some carbon dioxide in there, all kinds of stuff in there. So we move air into our lungs, and we do that called breathing. Breathing is the act of moving air in and out of our lungs. Cell respiration is a gas exchange. Breathing is moving air, the movement of the air. But that cell or that respiration is the gas exchange, okay? So I have a little mitochondria down there. And in the process of getting us energy, because we all know the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, in the process of getting energy, it also releases water and carbon dioxide. So our bodies have to somehow get that carbon dioxide out and bring in that oxygen. And that gas exchange, carbon dioxide for oxygen, is the respiration. Okay, we got some runners just doing running. So we're breathing in oxygen, you can see there. That oxygen goes to our bloodstream. Muscles do what they do. The oxygen goes into the cells, we talked about it passes that plasma membrane. And from there, in the cell is where the glucose, the sugar we eat, is broken down and oxygen is released. In the process, produces carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide goes back up to the heart and back into the lungs. And that cycle repeats constantly. Okay, so let's talk about this oxygen. Oh my gosh, look at that sinus, epiglottis, trachea business is all jacked up, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about that one. I'm more worried about the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. So oxygen supplies oxygen so we can make energy. That oxygen is critical for us to break down glucose or sugar molecules to release energy. And our body uses energy for everything. Our body is constantly using energy. In the process, it's going to release carbon dioxide and it's going to release water. The respiration helps, and the circulatory system help to get rid of those waste products and help keep the oxygen flowing. So here's just the anatomy. You've got your nose and your mouth at the top, your pharynx and your larynx in the throat, the trachea kind of behind that. You've got your bronchitis and your bronchioles. Those are just the airways leading into the lungs. The alveoli are those little like sacs at the end of the bronchioles where the gas exchange takes place. You've got your lungs, and underneath your lungs is your diaphragm. The diaphragm is the one that helps to move the lungs in a way in order to facilitate air coming in and air leaving. So how does the oxygen get in and out of the blood, right? So the blood contains, or the lungs have the bronchi, the bronchioles, and the alveoli, right? So the bronchus are like the larger airways. They get, the smaller you get, it's going to be the bronchioles, and at the very end of the bronchioles is the alveoli. They look like little grapes, a bunch of grapes. So what happens is the alveoli are these little tiny, like little round, like little sac business things. And they give us, the lungs, a lot of surface area because they are round, okay? So they absorb the oxygen from the air that we inhale. They're the ones that take in the oxygen from the air. When they take in that oxygen, they also release carbon dioxide. So in that, the membrane of the alveoli is where that gas exchange takes place, where that respiration takes place. So breathing involves the diaphragm and the muscles. Okay, you get this diaphragm that sits right underneath your muscles. And air pressure flows from areas of high to low pressure, like diffusion, right? We know molecules are going to diffuse from a high area to a low area. Air pressure is the same way. So when you inhale, your muscles contract, rib cage expands, and when you exhale, it's almost like a forceful, you know, it's not something that you have to think about. It's involuntary. And there's just a better description of what exactly is going on while you're breathing. And that's basically it. All right, so any questions, we will definitely write them down, and we'll talk about it today or Tuesday in class. Okay.